They started with 48 teams, but now it's just 2 teams left. Arsenal, for the first time in 20 years, in the final, and for only the second time in the history of the club, in the final of the Champions League against PSG, who is getting to the final in the second consecutive season. But before we get into that, let's talk about how they got to the final. First, let's talk about how Arsenal made it to the final. And I want to ask first, Fahad, well, that Arsenal game, I think I was a bit disappointed in Atletico. I think maybe Atletico could have done better. But what do you think?
Well, for me, for Atletico Madrid, I just feel when it comes to the match, they did come with the mindset they wanted to win. They came with the mindset of let's stay at home, let's keep it at 0-0, let's make it so that we can actually take it to penalties. I think that they wanted to wait till penalties for them to actually see if they can get the win.
But before halftime, Arsenal scored, which made me feel, I mean, most of the first half was like that, but then as soon as Arsenal scored, in the 44th minute, just 1 minute before the end of regular time, regular first half, I thought that second half, Diego Simeone was going to see that, hey, I have to come out now. I have to go out, at least get one goal and make it level, and then maybe I can go back to defending. But second half never really looked like Atletico wanted to. It just felt like, yes, it looked like Diego Simeone was trying, but the players were not. I mean, for him to remove Griezmann,
I think that was the mistake he made, actually.
Are you sure it was a mistake? Because yes. I felt like those players were done.
No, I think it was only Demola that was not really active. Griezmann was active. Julian Alvarez was also active. And I think his plan was he planned a draw in the first half. That was his plan, actually. To get a draw in the first half.
The second half.
In the second half. We probably can also get a goal and sit tight. That was why I said during the preview that I think the first goal matters. So, when Arsenal got the first goal, it defended the whole of the first half. Atletico defended throughout the first half. So, immediately the second half started launching, started attacking. And, when it was attacking, I know Ateta being our coach, I know we will also be prepared for the first 10 minutes of the second half because that was a crucial moment. In a coach that they could not score in the first 10 minutes of the second half, then we can stabilize the game after the first 10 minutes of the second half. So that was what we did. And immediately after the first 10 minutes of that second half, he panicked. That was where the issue came in. He started making some rash decisions, irrational decisions. I think the only decision he made was taking out Ademola Lookman. He wasn't in the game at all. He couldn't even take on Ben White. So, and if you can't take on Ben White as a fullback, who can you take on? So he substituted Ademola. Then I think the mistake where he made the mistake was taking off Alvarez and Griezmann. Because you wanted to attack, you need the goal. If you score 3-4 goals, it's still okay for you. So I think he can still look for a way to bring in Solot, probably
without taking
or removing Marcus Llorente. Even though Marcus Llorente was so much in that game, but you can still substitute players like
that. Did he even take off his son? I don't think.
I think he substituted.
So I think he substituted Amco and Demola first, and he brought in
Nahuel Molina.
Yes, and probably Bena.
And no, it was not. Was it Bayern?
I think Bayern was second.
But then I think the mistake he made when immediately he moved Griezmann and Alvarez. I know that's over. Because I think Solot was in the game with Alvarez and Griezmann. If Solot is fighting for the first balls, Griezmann and Alvarez will win the second balls, and that's what matters most. Once Solot will be able to fight when it comes to area duel with the likes of Gabriel and Saliba because of his height and his area prowess too. And Alvarez couldn't do that. So immediately he's doing that. The second balls, those ones can be getting the second balls and be creative with it. So now remove those guys, started bringing Belna, Molina, this Argentine guy, started doing some irrational decisions, and that was when the game is over.
Let me also ask you, well, for the second consecutive game, Mikel Arteta started Luis Kelly in the midfield. Does he have a new midfielder now?
I read an article from a very trusted source, even though it's not really official. And the article said Arteta told the guys after Fulham that for now he's sticking to that Fulham 11. And everybody was happy with it. So, and I didn't know how true it was until that game. Because I read that article prior to that game. But I thought probably I don't know. It wasn't a direct information from Ateta itself.
Because he
But then
he dropped Capie, dropped.
Yes, it started that. I didn't know it started that, and that was a risk. Calaferi almost cost us that game. Calaferi is one aggressive player, so he almost cost us that.
I mean, he already stamped Griezmann. The only saving grace was that there was already a foul on Griezmann.
There was another one, if not for offside. The lineman has already said the ball was off against Simeon, and he pulled the guy. And
into the wall.
Yes, that was supposed to be a penalty and a red card too. So, but I think it was kind of fortunate. And if you notice, even after he was substituted off, he was still committing crime. He was still collecting the
but finally on this particular game, well, Arsenal, the Champions League final in 20 years. I mean,
clap for us.
Okay, yeah. Please.
Thank you.
I mean, it feels like they should be able to put everything in, and it's all set up well for Arsenal now, because the way it's looking, if it happens that a week before the Champions League final, they get to lift the Premier League title, that ginger, I mean, can they be stopped? Lifting their first Premier League title in 22 years, a week before their first Champions League final in 20 years.
I think for Mikel Arteta, he's brought in.
It's all the motivation they need for that final.
Yeah, I think for Mikel Arteta, he's brought in belief into this Arsenal squad, into this Arsenal team. Because if you look at last 3 Champions League, they got knocked at the quarterfinal, semi-final. Now they're in the final. So you can see the progression from the quarterfinals to semi-finals. Now they're in the final. So he has brought in one thing that has been lacking for a very, very long time. That's the self-belief that we can actually go in there and can do better. And if you look at from the game against Fulham, the game against Fulham was the only game that they were not under pressure. The other games, it just felt like we were playing under pressure. And look at that. Look, if you see the atmosphere in the stadium in the game against Fulham, where it felt like they needed that 3 points desperately and they needed goals. I think he went with the atmosphere. He needed the atmosphere, and he brought in. He saw that the atmosphere helped the players. So he said, "You know what? Don't let me change the players. Let me stick with these players that played in this atmosphere." So the atmosphere from the fans translated onto the players, and so they actually gave a good performance. And when it comes to their first Champions League in 20 years, it's massive, honestly. He's done a whole lot.
Let me ask you, how does it feel? How do you feel?
I was emotional. I was so emotional.
Were you teary?
Not really, but I was supposed to be teary. I don't know why I didn't cry, but I was, because I'm telling you,
because it feels like
the 2006 final. My dad almost carried me home that day because I was crying against Barcelona in that final, because I watched every match in that Champions League that year too. So
some Arsenal fans hated Henry after that game.
I almost hated him too. Yes, I was hating him at first, but then I was matured, and I just feel it's part of the game. So because I didn't won the Champions League, it's also been his own CV too at the same time. So it's not as if he did it intentionally. Though we believed then that he did it intentionally because he was also going to Barcelona. But life is not like that. So, but then I was emotional. There's no Arsenal fan that has been watching football from early 2000 that won't be emotional that day. I was telling a friend of mine that's also an Arsenal fan that the reason why I think we celebrated when we qualified for the final is because it's worth celebrating. Either win or lose in the final. We getting to the final itself is worth celebrating. Irrespective of what happened, what's going to happen in the final. I watched a documentary of a man. The man has been supporting Arsenal for the past, I think from the 1970s. The man said the first European trophy Arsenal won before it became Champions League. That was his first year traveling to away matches in Europe to watch football. And since then, he has been traveling since 1970s to watch every Arsenal away match in the UEFA.
Wow.
So he said he's also going to Budapest.
I
think the man is on Wish now. So this thing is life. I'm telling you, I don't think I've been so emotional in my life like I was on Tuesday. Believe me.
I mean, absolutely amazing. Let's talk about the second semi-final game. Let's talk about Bayern against PSG. Did Vincent Kompany drop the ball?
I don't think he dropped the ball.
He didn't miscalculate.
I just feel the difference in because Luis Enrique is someone that is should I say is more experienced. Yeah, the difference in experience was all played out. In the first leg, it was very very open. I think everyone loved it. But both managers would have studied and felt, look, this thing is not sustainable.
Especially when this is the last game. There's no game after this.
And Luis Enrique knows they are not. The first leg was played at Parc des Princes. Second leg will be played at Allianz Arena, which is the home of Bayern Munich. So if they decide to be open like the first leg, they might get knocked out. So he decided, you know what? Let's just keep it conservative a little bit. Let's stay at the back. Don't let us be as open as we were in the first leg. And it helped them very well in the match against Bayern Munich. They were very, very good defensively and attack. When it comes to transitions as well into attack, they were very good. Likes of Kvaratskhelia, Doué, Dembele. Those guys were very, very deadly. The transition, the fluidity, which was kind of missing in Bayern Munich's game.
Did that game? Yeah,
I think Enrique played company for a fool, and it worked for him. You telling us after the game that the way you approached the first leg is I think that was where he believed him. He fell for it completely. And let me tell you something today. Let me say to the camera too. Everybody believes Mikel Arteta and the likes are playing around football. I think personally, I believe Enrique is more around than every one of them. And let me discuss it. Forget everything we are seeing on the screen. Forget the platform. Yesterday, if you notice in that game, and I've been noticing this when it comes to Enrique team, when they do pass, who are they kicking the ball to? They will throw your drawing. Because they want you to play to their hand. They want you to make mistakes. They prefer you to be building up from the back. They prefer you to have more of the possession. Just make the mistake for us and let us go. Aside from the throwing, if you notice, most of the goal kicks so far not played yesterday. Where was he kicking into? Do you think it was a mistake? It was intentional. 80% of his goal kick yesterday was going to throw in. Do you think he's making a mistake? A goal kick. It's not as if he's playing goal kick under pressure. Goal kick that you are playing from rest, from position of face, and you are kicking into the throwing. Those are tactics. They are playing everything to Bayern's hand. Because there's something about Vincent Kompany that he needs to work on. He's an all-out manager. He doesn't calculate his risk. He's a very risky manager. He go with the risk. So, and when it fell on him, he'll take responsibility. That's why I can only manage a team like Bayern Munich. Because he doesn't, no matter how what he can get, he's still going to win the league and the cup. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. No matter how what, because of their financial strength in that league. But when it comes to coming to the elite football competition, you making such a risk is too much. Even Pep and Enrique, those are the coaches that we are looking up to now. They only do calculated risk. But you going all out, taking all the risk, no, it's too much.
At the Bayern Munich front three, did they choose a very wrong day to have a bad day? Because Olise was not it. Luis Diaz practically could not go past Zaire Emery, who was not even the right back. Yeah. And then Kane was off throughout the game until that one chance that he scored practically almost the last kick of the game. So it felt like the front three, Olise was the most active, but Olise was not on his day. He
was making passes,
wrong passes, yeah. And then when he plays all those his traditional bend-it ball, it was not accurate. He was playing it over the bar. So it felt like the front three of Bayern Munich, the day off yesterday, or PSG forced them to be off.
I think in the first leg, you have seen that there was spaces. Spaces. These guys work with spaces. And I think Luis Enrique would have studied it. You know what? Michael Olise, he likes to work with spaces. He's a type of winger that calculates. He calculates his move. We go here. He doesn't like rushing into.
And this time we saw Kvaratskhelia sitting back to defend. We saw a lot of things.
So in the game as well. In the game as well, we also saw Marquinhos coming in to help Zaire Emery too as well. Mm-hmm. So which didn't really give Luis Diaz a whole lot of. They didn't really give Luis Diaz a lot of space, and that means William Pacho was on Harry Kane. He didn't give him any breathing space as well. Apart from that one chance that he saw and he took it. They knew that if these guys get more than these chances, they will take it. And yesterday there were 33 shots at goal yesterday, more than what we had in the first leg. That was 22 shots. So it was more like I think both goalkeepers were actually on their day.
Manona saved Bayern Munich a lot of times. Something of also
yeah. You see, one of the things that happened at the game was tactically. Enrique was smarter. Now, if you see what happened, what betted to go for PSG was because companies still stick to what happened in the first leg. You using one of your centre back as a fullback so that your fullback, Konrad Laimer, can proceed forward. So the Kvaratskhelia did the 1-2 with Fabian Ruiz and exposed that space. That space opened and they created the chance. But if you look at the way Enrique set up, in the first leg, Enrique also set up by using Marquinhos to mark Luis Diaz, and it didn't work. It didn't work because every one-on-one Luis Diaz was getting with Marquinhos that day. It was just moving.
This time we saw Zaire and Mary actually stayed.
Yes, Zaire stayed. Even it wasn't Zaire that even stayed. Dembele was coming back. And this is the way created an overload to the middle. Fabian Ruiz, after Nuno Mendes got his yellow card, I think in the 20th minute.
So most of the
Fabian Ruiz that was marking Olise. So Enrique did his work perfectly. He blocked. Let's be honest, he blocked. He made sure there was no space. And the reason why he had so many shots and few on target or few goals was because in the first leg there was enough space for the player to make a direct and a clinical shot. But this was there was not enough space. You were between battled, and so you can't even hit your ball in a direct motion. The secondly was Bayern Munich got so emotional by the decision of the ref. It wasn't as if it was a bad decision, but they got so but they got so emotional and it affected their football.
Now, talking about that decision, it's the rule of the game.
Yes.
The rule of the game says even if you deemed a handball, if it was kicked by your teammates, it is not because
you're not expecting.
You're not trying to block a shot that your teammate is playing. So it must definitely be unintentional. So if it is kicked by your teammate, even if your hand is like this and it meets your hand, it's still not a penalty because his teammate is in. And that was the rule that the referee.
So they got so emotional by the decisions of the referee. The first one was about Nuno Mendes. They were expecting the second yellow, and it's too soft. I
think for that Nuno Mendes issue, what Konrad Laimer actually said was that he said this the fourth official already spoke to the referee that Konrad Laimer already handled the ball, which was why the referee blew for Konrad Laimer for a foul against Konrad Laimer. So that was why there was no second yellow for Nuno Mendes.
Even if it was direct for that type of game, is semi-final in the Champions.
Don't just give a red card. Maybe it has to be a sliding tackle.
Yes,
very clear.
And that was the next error or foul Nuno Mendes committed after his yellow card. So you can't give someone a yellow card 5 minutes earlier in the semi-final of the Champions and give him a second yellow card right now almost immediately for the next offense. So then when they got so emotional, that was why company messed up yesterday. I'm telling you. You as a coach should talk to your player that
calm them down.
Calm down. Just at some point, tell your goalkeeper or one of your players to just lie down, delay time, call the guys in, tell them to calm down and play their game.
Does this reduce how much respect company will have in the eyes of the world? Because most people say that the German Bundesliga is not special, even if you win it by 100 million points. The German Bundesliga is not a special trophy. Practically almost every manager that coached Bayern Munich won the German Bundesliga. It's just like winning the French Ligue 1 with PSG. I mean, Pochettino, Unai Emery, all of them won and still got fired. So winning German Bundesliga is not a big deal. That you get recognized as a top coach when you have won the Champions League. And I feel company was really hoping he could do that this season and put his name amongst the elites. Can we still consider him a rookie coach now?
For Vincent Company, I just feel it's going to gain a whole lot of respect from this matchup actually, because if you look at it, moving from a club like Burnley, making that step up to a club like Bayern Munich, and a lot of people were expecting him. People were even we were castigating the decision that why would you go to Burnley and get the manager? And it was more like a gamble. Was it going to work? Was it not going to work? And it has worked perfectly for 2 seasons now. So right now, the thing in this semi-final,
also for 2 seasons, he has failed to even get to the final of the Champions League. Now
in this semi-final, in this Champions League, he has gone toe to toe with Luis Enrique. Yeah, he lost. You see, but he went toe to toe with Luis Enrique.
Actually, I believe even the type of respect he was getting after the first leg, let me put it that way, will be diminished now. And the reason being, I also expect, I believe, at least to some level now, from a rookie, I think he's in the next stage now. But you can't still call him a world class yet. I can only pair him with the likes of the Mikel Arteta and the likes. But I still can't pair him with the likes of the Enrique, the Pep, those top coaches. And the reason why I put him in that position, aside from the fact that you are coaching an elite club like Bayern Munich with all the resources you have at your disposal, but you played against this team, Enrique team, in the Club World Cup. You went all out, you risked everything, it defeated you. You played him in the league phase, you won. You played him in the fourth leg, you got battered, you got defeated. You almost got defeated 5-2. Let's not forget, if not for
Enrique, himself not doing what he now came to do.
Yes, so now it is still the same you still maintain that pride. I believe it's pride. I don't know why.
See what's go all out and
you still went all out. This thing is football is meant to be calculated. It's like mathematics. You just need to calculate your options. Because if you check your team head to head with this PSG team, I'm still telling you, PSG has more quality and more depth. Look at your bench. Yes, when they were defeated.
I mean,
they couldn't even make a reasonable. I think that's where the board needs to come in this next season. If you look at their bench, they had like the attacking players there were just Nicolas Jackson.
And we have also said that since they won the German Bundesliga, and he
has been trying to change.
And he has been trying to change. Every time he changes, he goes behind. But he brings in
the you should know, if you know you have such team, you should try as much as possible to score the first goal, not concede the first goal. You should try as much as possible to score because most of the teams you have on the bench at centre back.
So he still has a lot to learn.
I'm telling you. I think the only thing that can make him get that respect back is if Arsenal loses the final. Because people will believe at least, okay, Enrique is the best team.
Because right now people are rating Arteta,
No, aside from rating Arteta, if PSG should win the Champions League now, people will feel like, well, you lost to the best team. At least they won the Champions League. But if Arsenal should beat PSG,
that means he had a problem. That is PSG
PSG is beatable. Because if you notice, the respect people were giving PSG after that Champions League diminished a little bit after Chelsea defeated them in the Club World Cup. Because people do like Chelsea, Man, so do you get it? So people started, people believe Arsenal tried by getting to the semi-final last season, got defeated by the champions. But the moment Chelsea defeated PSG, people were like, Arsenal are going to Chelsea beat these guys. So how can you beat them? Do you know that people forget?
I think it's the same. Sorry, I think it's the same progression Mikel Arteta had with Chelsea from the quarter-final, semi-final, and now in the final. So we will be hopefully maybe next season he'll be in the final. But I think it's a learning curve for him as well.
Okay, definitely. Well, one thing we have to say is 30th day of this month. That is Saturday, the 30th, at the Puskas Arena in Budapest. It's going to be PSG for the second time in a row, taking on Arsenal for the second time ever in the history of the club. Who takes this year's Champions League?
Arsenal, of course.
We'll talk about that when we preview the final.
The team in blue.
Believe.